Recently, the Internet Archive made a number of old DOS games available free to play in your browser. And I was browsing through there and looking at what the different options they had were. And one of them was One Must Fall 2097, which I remember playing back in junior high. I tried playing in the browser, it didn't work well. But ultimately I downloaded DOSBox, the executable, fiddled with OBS, got it working. And I'm going to do a playthrough with the Jaguar, which was always my robot of choice. The Jaguar is fast, if a little fragile. I tend to go a little bit all in on agility and speed. The way the game works, it's sort of a fighting game in the tradition of, I don't know, Street Fighter or the like, but it's also got this tournament setup where it's a little RPG-like. You progress through, you defeat opponents, because that here is sort of the Glass Joe of the very first tournament. She's pretty easy to run over even on the hardest difficulty. I say as I jump into a kick. But yeah, so I wanted to see, it's been a long time since I played it. I did do a couple playthroughs before this recorded one. Kind of remembered some of the moves. That overhead flip throw is definitely one of the Jaguar's best moves. It has a good hitbox. It's hard to punish if you screw it up. I lean on it a lot. The roundhouse kick is back end kick. I lean on that one a lot too. Has good priority. You can still get tagged. It has kind of a long recovery if it gets blocked. Boy, a mess. Last Joe's making a comeback on me here. I think I get it. Yeah, okay. Right, and so then you can do a scrap move and a destruction move, and they give you bonus points, which turns into currency you can use to buy things, and you can fight unranked challengers. So afterwards, your fight's on the news. They talk about how you did. Your repair guy talks about your performance. Was it good? Was it bad? Your agility makes it so that if you block shots, the higher it is, like the farther back you slide, which gives you a little bit of space to not, take the next shot. It also helps your recovery from hits and whatnot. Power obviously affects how hard you hit. Endurance is your HP pool and stun res. And then you can also buy up your robot in addition to your own personal skills.
Ready. Fight.
Start out by eating some kicks here. That sweep is back and down and kick, and that's also a good one. It's good priority. It knocks them down. Start off by getting a little wrecked here. I'm still real slow. Later, once I bought up my stats bit, it'll be a little faster. It's another special move, the Jaguar Leap. I don't use it much. And then there's the concussion cannon. That's the third special move. Jaguar Leap is like down, roll, forward, punch. Concussion cannon is down, roll, back, punch. And the flip is you jump in the air over them, then you press down and punch. You can see I got stunned. If you've never played the game before, it's the little gray bar under the health bar. Every hit takes some of that off. The fighters are like a arena hazard. They also stun you quite a bit. But obviously if you're stunned, your opponent can, unleash something on you. And then here I screw up. The scrap is down, down, up, punch. And the destruction is down, up, kick. You get half as much for scrap if you don't manage to pull off the destruction. My repair guy scolds me sometimes. I guess he used to be a robot fighting hotshot back in the day. The plot of this game, to an extent that it has a plot, is in the future, one mega corporation runs everything for all of humanity. And they are selecting a new governor for one of Jupiter's moons, and they've elected to do it via trial by combat, naturally. And so the ultimate winner of the world championship gets to be governor of Ganymede, or I might have the wrong moon, but that's sort of the idea. This mech I'm fighting here is a shadow. It produces these like shadow copies of itself that can kick and punch and throw. I mostly find shadows not especially hard to fight. You can punch and kick the shadow copies as they're coming in, and they move a little predictably and they move a little slow. I'm mostly real glad to be fighting a shadow. They're not a big problem. Oh, forgot to do the scrapper destruction there. First mech upgrade. I like leg speed, like arm speed. You know, the faster you do stuff, obviously the less time they have to react, stuff removed, whatever. You know, you want some power and endurance too. Yeah, speed's great to have. Just barely get out of the way of those fighters. Punch. Gunned into a stun. Swept. Block that one, sweep him. He's stunned. Excuse me, she, Dr. Linyar. Just trying, yeah, for the concussion. If you screw up the concussion cannon, or if I screw up the concussion cannon, often I get that real slow roundhouse punch and then they counter it. Trying to do the overhead throw, but I missed a couple times there. And that's probably enough here to close out. No, I'm wrong. Who is this close one? Finally got it with the concussion cannon, and then remembered to do the destruction. Because they're cheap at first, I tend to invest real heavily in the training courses. Then you sort of move to doing some robot upgrades, and then ultimately you come back to the training. The sort of last notches on the power, agility, and endurance bars are real expensive. I think the last tick is 200k. Mostly by the time you get those, you've got your robot fully upgraded. Milano's a pretty fast pilot. I tend to have a pretty easy time against pilots with low agility. But the higher agility makes it tougher because they can recover faster, work shots into when you're trying to combo. And it's not so hard to get either the computer stuck in a situation or stuck in a situation yourself where you eat a bunch of shots and then it dazes you, and you eat some more shots, you fall down, you get up into them throwing a bunch of stuff at you. So it'll be a little streaky. Sometimes I'm just crushing the computer and then it gets ahead of me and I lose a huge chunk of my health bar. And then you try to get it back, of course. I was not trying to jump over him, I was trying to throw him. But good enough, right? I bet I misclicked on the jump back. I can't think why I would have tried to do that. And that's all she wrote. This is the arena with no hazards. It's like the first one they built, I guess, when they decided that giant robots fighting each other. These in the lore of the game, these robots are 100 feet tall. Giant robots fighting each other was not interesting enough, so they needed electrified walls and jets that shot. Stun row is always good to have. If you're stunned, it's hard to do much of anything. Shiro is one of the low agility pilots. I tend to mostly walk over him. I can't remember how this fight goes, so I don't get crushed here. He hits real hard, like when he connects, it's a big deal, but like often he just walks into your punches and kicks. Not so much there. Get a throw here. If you press into them and punch and you're real close, you'll throw. Blocking is holding back. So obviously you're not going to block anything if you're pressing forward and punch and you're real close. So you might just walk into them hitting you with something. But like if you time it as they get up or whatnot, you can get one of those throws off. I tend to be a bit of a sucker for throws. It's probably my worst defense. Shear's ahead so far. I don't think he's landed very many shots, but they're all heavier. Just flip kick into throw into a wall. Ooh, I'm running real low. Maybe I'll lose this one? I can't remember. Alright, maybe not. Maybe this is enough. Close match. The news lady talks a certain amount of smack if you want to win by a little bit. Something about how my repair crew is going to be stuck in there all night. Fortunate victory. Yeah, gotta learn some defense. You always get beat up like this. Fair enough. Invest in some additional agility. And endurance never hurts either. You gotta be careful if you go down real low on money and then you lose a match and the repair costs drive you negative. Your repair guy sells mods at not a very good price, and so it really sets you back if you take a loss and you don't have the money to cover it. Obviously, the more of your money you have in mods leading into the fight, mods and training, the better the chance. There's the shadow slide kick. The better chance is that you'll win, right? You'll have more stats going into the match, but you gotta think about what if I lose. If you play enough, you kind of end up with a level of confidence about how hard certain matches are. This first tournament, the North American Open, is by far the easiest. The difficulty goes up from there. I'm trying to do the concussion thing. I'm almost never trying to do that big roundhouse punch. I'm just screwing up the keystrokes for the concussion cannon. That's a nice finish. Alright, so if you do well enough in a fight and then you do the destruction, you can get unranked challengers. Steel Claw is tough. I don't think I've ever beaten him on the very first playthrough of the NA Open. If I get him, he has just a boatload of stats. He hits super hard. Later I can do alright against him when I get built up a little more, but... Too much power, too much endurance. Screw up the timing on one of these, I think. Yeah, and he catches that. That's all true. Yeah, I should probably dodge Steel Claw when he comes up. You don't have to take the unranked challengers, but I don't know. You didn't enter the North American Open because you wanted to not fight. Few lucky shots, but most of the time the match looked like this. I feel like most of the time was me hitting him, but touche, he definitely won. And then the repair guy gives me a hard time, disparages his wife. Oh, we get another leg speed upgrade, that's nice. And we have the money from the fight we won right before the unranked challenger. Abram talks some smack.
Ready. Fight.
Ibram, I think, is one of the lower agility pilots as well. I feel like I've had some matches where he just, every single time he tries to do anything, you just stop him with a fast attack and get nothing. Obviously not right now, because my character's not brought up much, but I think almost everybody in the North American Open shows up in later, larger tournaments. This neck is a Thorn. It's a little bit slow. It does hit kind of hard. I don't love the Thorn. One of its special attacks is the right. You grab you, flip you over the head. It is hard to hit with the back end kick. It has like a lower profile. Rank 3, so one opponent and then the final of the North American Open. The game comes with 4 tournaments. North American Open, I forget what the second one's called. The third one's the War Invitational, and the fourth one is the World Championship.
Ready.
Crystal is a fast pilot. She's got good stats. She uses a lot of special attacks. I think she's overly fond of that Jaguar lead. But I definitely lose to Crystal sometimes. definitely feel like I managed to do a lot of damage, blocking her leaps and then getting some kicks off. Ooh, I want to get blocked. Yeah, like that. Back-to-back throws. That worked out great. "18 consecutive hits. And I think I get another unranked challenger. I think she has a brother who's angered by my disrespect of destroying her 100-foot high robot. I think... Okay, yeah, so to get this guy, you have to fight her, achieve certain whatever, you still have starting final health, or many hits, and then do the destruction move, and then he shows up. It's a lot harder than I am. That's not good. I get back to the corner, and I have no health left. I can play it perfectly from here on out. But no, he gets in a hit, and that's all she wrote. Second unranked challenger lost. But the unranked challengers also don't affect your tournament standing. So if you're rank whatever and going to play for the next slot, losing to the unranked challengers, it does require that you pay the repair costs, but it doesn't bump you down a slot.
Ready. Fight.
This robot is a Pyros. It has a sort of fire shooting out of the I don't know, fire spout things theme going on. It spins around, shoots across the arena. In this particular arena, if you can hit the red floating bubble, fire shoots up from the grill and damages your opponent. Which is nice because you're not going to get close to them to do it, right? It's floating around as long as you can tag it. I mostly don't feel like Pyroses are super hard in the Jaguar. I don't know. The robots definitely have different hitboxes. The Pyros feels especially easy to hit the jumping overhead flip throw on. The Pyros and the Flail both, I don't know, have big head hitboxes. I don't know how it works exactly. it's easy to connect with the throw. And destroy his robot. And that's the North American Challenge. We get declared champion of it. Apparently we find it hard to walk. And then another unranked challenger, the Iceman.
Ready. Fight.
Iceman's piloting a shadow, good for us. I think just in general the shadow's a little bit weak, but I feel like the Jaguar also matches up well against it. Iceman has this ice freeze thing that is not part of the Shadow's normal kit. It's like an additional special attack. Just missed the flame up there. Missed the flip throw. Pretty close thus far. Alright, and so this is the first unranked challenger I've beaten. And one of the things you'll note when we get to the repair screen is that the reward money is much bigger than it was for the sort of standard ranked challengers. And so part of the strategy, if you're playing on hard mode, is to get these unranked challengers and beat them and get the big payouts, which you use to buy up your stuff, which gives you better stats, to fight the regular guys. That's it from the North American Challenge. Next tournament next time.